Well, Scott Shackford of Reason Magazine, Reason.com. Boy, I've been reading your stuff for years and years, Scott. It's nice to have you guys who, seem the most reasonable politically in the country now. The right's got so right, and the left's got so left, and you guys, you never know what side of the issue you're on. Uh, we can't peg you that easy. Which is nice, and I think is more intellectually honest than people with strong ideologies. But that aside, really, as you know, the president came out with this thing about everybody's going to go for 2 years of college for free. So I mean, it sounds great, and I know you guys think about this kind of stuff. So I want to know what's the downside of something like that happening.
Well, look at it this way. Of course, we all know that there's no such thing as something for free.
Right.
And we know that
Oops.
this
Really? There goes my career.
When the government offers something for free, somebody is paying for it somewhere. And so the issue with a free community college is where does that money come from to cover the cost of teaching people? And what we've seen is that college costs have skyrocketed over the past 10, unbelievably, way above inflation, way above the cost of anything else. Is outrageous. And so the idea of a free college sounds great because you get to just not have to deal with that problem. But here's the issue. The reason why community college costs have increased and four-year college costs have increased is because there's been this huge bloat in administrative costs. Mm-hmm. They're not adding more professors. They're not adding more teachers. They're adding more staff and administrators for people to run programs.
Fancy healthcare centers, health centers, and spas.
Exactly. Same thing on the education level. And so what happens is this money, this free college, the money that's used to that, it's not going to go to the students. So we offer this free program. Students aren't going to see a cent. They're not going to be sending checks. They're just going to send the money to colleges. Mm-hmm. And what happens then is there's no longer any incentive for colleges to reduce costs. It's going to cause the cost of colleges' education to actually increase. During the recession, a lot of colleges cut back on staff or salaries for the actual teachers, for professors and adjuncts, the people who are actually responsible for teaching your kids. But they still added to administrators. So at community colleges, they added, during all of this, salaries and employment for professors were flat. But they added 3 administrators for every 1,000 college students.
Wow. So in other words, you're saying that it's sort of like even like whether you're the universities that are getting kids to borrow money to go to college, they get the money and hire staff and put nice swimming pools on their campus and all this kind of stuff. And so that inflates the cost of college. I mean, actually, when I was in college, I think professors made hardly anything. Now, 150 grand is like nothing in these big schools for professors to make, which is amazing.
Yeah, and big schools. And the community colleges, community colleges are cheap because they're heavily subsidized already. And there's lots of, and as of course, there's plenty of grants and scholarships for community college students. And, that's how they keep the costs down. Faculty at community colleges don't make the kind of money that faculty at four-year and private colleges do.
So you're saying it's the administration. So you're fearing the same will happen now at the community college, that how the four-year colleges are using the students' loan money because the price of that college education went up so much, so they're borrowing money to give to the college to do what the hell they want. So now you're saying that is something that could happen on the community college level, where the community colleges getting more students. I guess they're going to get more federal money for every student they have, right?
Right, and so there's no reason for them to say not raise tuition.
Yeah.
So there's been nothing indicated that there's a cap on what the government will pay. Yeah. So there's no reason not to raise tuition. And then you have to be in certain programs to qualify for this. So if you have to be going for an associate's degree, that is certainly a large chunk of why people go to community colleges. But there's other reasons, job training, and the president's plan will include certain job training programs, but ones that the government approves of. So someone, the immediate thing that happened after I wrote about this is that somebody asked me, on Twitter, it's like, well, if you don't qualify for this program, is your tuition going to increase? And my response was very likely. There's no longer a reason for colleges to hold down tuition costs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I guess that's what's happened on the 4-year level, because kids who just get more loans, and the families get loans to pay, and then it's become quite a status symbol now, I guess, to have all these fancy buildings, and so it's, gosh, and you're right. I mean, I could see more. I mean, it's sort of like the housing. If you got the government was giving money for housing, so hey, you're going to get it, and so it inflates something that maybe shouldn't be inflated.
Right. Yeah, and the last thing we want, one of the things, one of the criticisms of community colleges, but what's also great about it is it has a very high dropout rate, very high. Some states have like less than a 10% completion rate. But that actually, the fact that we have a system that's relatively inexpensive, where people can drop in and out of to increase their, to improve their education, that's a good thing. I actually started in community colleges myself before, and I did that. I got an associate's degree, transferred to a 4-year school, and I had to it took me more than 2 years, because of certain circumstances. And just making it free doesn't necessarily fix those circumstances. Because I didn't pay, it was very cheap. It was extremely cheap, and I understand that it was heavily subsidized. I got scholarships, I got grants. I didn't have to get loans for community college, but I had to take my time with it, so that's a beneficial thing about it. And what I would hate to see is that community colleges become less flexible. Because of trying to take advantage of this government program.
Right. So in other words, if people have to go half-time, well then if I'm only going a quarter time, I mean, I got nothing, bupkas. Yeah, things like that. Or a program that I think is the future to take for a skill, and if you don't, then I don't get the money. And yeah, so that's... Yeah, oh gosh. Well, I mean, another thing, I mean, if that is bad, I mean, I run into people overseas where higher education is all free, I mean, people like France and, I was just interviewing somebody over there, the young people, I mean, the engineers, they don't even think about tuition because it's all free. They can't get over it. I don't know how they manage the cost, but... they don't they don't have student debt, I guess, because it's free like we do.
But it has a lot less, they have a lot less academic freedom. It's like the government this program would decide whether or not they would pay for the education that you're going for, based on what you're studying.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm kind of guy, I hate being told what to do. That's why I know, how many people told me I can't wear a question mark suit. I was thrown off TV stations and everything when I start wearing this stuff, but man, you just keep doing it. Well, that's good to know, and that's good to hear the other side of this, because it's so easy to jump on something that, hey, ice cream's good, why not more? And to realize there's bad parts of this, and we got to be careful what we do. It's not easy answers for anything. So it's nice having you guys there, Scott. And that's Reason.com, Reason Magazine. And I was telling you earlier, I did a video with some young guys who got a big reward from you guys. And so thank you for doing that. And actually, I'm going to rerun it on my site again one of these days.
Oh, excellent. That would be great.
Great. Well, thank you again, Scott. Take care.
Thanks for having me. Bye.